This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. France causes controversy by banning Muslim girls from wearing abayas in school. France is taking another step towards banning religious garments and symbols in state schools. It now plans to ban students from wearing abayas, which are long, loose-fitting robes some Muslim girls and women wear over their clothing. Shortly after taking office in July, French Education Minister Gabriel Attal declared that attending school in an abaya was a religious gesture, vowing to take action against this. Previously, teachers' unions had called on French authorities to make a clear decision regarding the garment, as ever more female students have been wearing abayas to class. The French Muslim Association, in turn, had argued that an abaya does not constitute a religious garment, while left-wing politicians had protested against the ban, saying it amounted to policing dress codes. France sees itself as a secular country in which church and state are strictly separated. The law enshrining this principle was passed as early as 1905 and originally intended to push back the influence of Catholicism. According to surveys, a majority of French people still regard secularism as a fundamental French value, with only a minority self-identifying as religious. Today, only a small minority of people in France subscribe to Islam. It is estimated that only about 8% of the population is Muslim. There's something about this that it just kind of gives me pause. Okay, the religious side, if you want to be a secular country, be a secular country. But then we're talking about people's culture as well. So many times religion bumps up or is a part of person's culture. They are really a part of a person's culture. I remember when I was doing hospice work, and we would go in and we would be talking to Jewish people that were in the hospice, and Judaism was part of their identity. It wasn't even just a religious value or that kind of thing. It was part of their identity. It was their culture. It was the way that they were raised. So I'm kind of seeing this as something very similar. They're bumping into people's culture, trying to take that away from them.
Yeah. And also, this is something that Muslim women wear. And so I just don't know. A big value at Sunshine Cathedral is that we value and promote bodily autonomy.
Right.
And so if part of how I demonstrate my masculinity, my femininity, my fluidity, if part of that's how I dress, I'm a little uncomfortable with trying to control that. That seems like that's, again, the government telling you what to do with your body. And I don't like that. I just don't like that. Right. And also this idea that 8% is a small minority, that seems significant to me, 8%. Yeah. That's a lot of people. I don't remember the population of France. Is it less than 100 million? I remember it used to be 50 million, but that was like 50 years ago. Well, anyway, 8% is a lot. Yeah. 8% is a lot. I mean, for scale, about 1% of the U.S. is Native American. And that's still a lot of people. Right. Maybe 7%, somewhere between 7 and 10% are LGBTQ. That's a lot of people. And so if 8% is Muslim, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's nothing to be dismissive of. That's a lot of people.
And this is yet another school. Yet another school where something is trying to be enforced, where it probably is a story where let's talk about why you wear what you wear. And what does that mean? And if you can't do it there, then you can have that conversation at home. Hey, mom, little Susie shows up with a Star of David on, or Johnny shows up with a cross on. This person, what does that mean? You know, instead of like trying to exclude. Like, let's have a conversation so that even as a kid, when we encounter these things outside of the norm, whatever that norm might be, we're not offended by it. We're not put off by it. We don't feel someone's discriminated by it because I'm wearing what I feel is appropriate for me. And I agree about the whole culture thing. Like this is just as like a cleansing of yet another cultural thing for a group of people. And we have seen what that's been like for little girls here in America who are required to cut their dreads, or little girls who are required to cut their dreads.
Curious about it.
Yeah, or you can't dress this way. So I mean, it's something about what are we trying to do in the school? What is happening in the schools that we need to pay attention to?
And I don't know that oppression is ever the way to get what you want, certainly not in the long term. If I just oppress this and lock it down, what you're doing is you're locking it down in a pressure cooker. That people are going to be so resentful eventually, it's going to come out in really unpleasant ways. So if you want to have everyone wear a school uniform, or if you want to say you can join a club where you can do whatever during the club, and then when it's back to school, I mean, you have to make some kind of accommodation. If it's just don't do it because I said, that's not going to last forever, I don't think. That's not a good plan.
Right. I did some reading on this this topic, and that's exactly what is happening. Young Muslim women are protesting. And there was a school, I don't remember, in France somewhere, of course, and approximately 300 young women in Abayas came to protest.
Wow.
And said, this is what we are going to wear.
Good for
them.
Good for them.
Yep. We are excited to tell you about our next adventure with our Global Fellowship. In 2024, we'll be going to where the hills are alive as we explore Austria and Alpine Europe for Gay Oktoberfest. Space is extremely limited, so make sure to go to happeningout.travel/sunshine to reserve your space now.
Would you like to join the Queer God Squad on a special winter cruise in 2024? Well, now you can. You will visit Cozumel, Mexico, Grand Cayman, and Ocho Rios, and you can even add an open bar and Wi-Fi. Join us by going to happeningout.travel/sunshine.